Yeah, well, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too, man. How you been doing?
Good, good, good. Appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Have you guys been dealing with the like? What's it like in Vegas right now with the shutdown?
I think it's fine. There's I don't feel like there's any real reason to complain about it because there's not much we can do about it. Getting tired though. I'm ready for things to kind of get back to normal. You know, I definitely miss doing jiu-jitsu. We're doing Zoom classes like a lot of the schools around the country, but like a lot of schools around the country, we're going to be affected by it. And then when we come out of the quarantine, what's jiu-jitsu look like with phase one, phase two, phase three of Trump's plan? How does that change what we do? So
And how long does it take to go through those phases?
yeah, exactly. So obviously, I think everyone's safety uh, should be our number one priority. But at the same time, at what point does life get back to normal? So I don't know. We'll see.
Man, we have been having awesome participation on like the kids Zoom classes.
Mhm.
And then also like my adult kickboxing, I have several people log in and we just like do a crazy shadow boxing workout. And that's had good participation, but like that's immediately like anytime I talk to a jiu-jitsu guy, I'm like, what are you doing right now? What have you been working on? What are your Zoom classes like? You know?
Pretty much all of our Zoom classes are they're 30 minutes long. So we do a warm up like we normally do. And then it's top techniques, side control, mount, stuff like that, knee on belly, things that they can do fairly easy if they're not on a soft surface uh, with a homemade dummy. Um, so it's working out okay, but it takes some of the enjoyment of seeing people, and also you can't roll, so it's hard to progress. I'm not saying you can't improve and do things, you can, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, I know, man. And dude, like the man, I love doing like I've been doing tons of these podcasts like this, so I get to see people and it's awesome. And like as soon as I see them, I'm like, oh, a person.
All right.
But it's still not the same. It's awesome, but it's not it's less than ideal than sitting down with the person. It's like there's like you see that there's levels to being around somebody. There's like talking on the phone and texting, and there's
Yeah.
this, and then there's one-on-one like when you're nearby somebody and just chatting with them.
Yeah, I'm interested to see when all this kind of blows over if conversations become more awkward and people are in the back of their mind worried about uh, this virus or other things like that. I don't know. I don't know. We've never seen anything like this in our lifetime. And in addition to that, my parents, they never saw anything like this in their lifetime. So it's just kind of crazy situation.
Yeah, this guy that was just on my podcast here in the studio before the pandemic got bad, um, his great grandma died in the third wave of the Spanish flu.
Mhm.
So everybody's talking right now. There was a second wave. Well, apparently there was a third wave, and it killed my buddy's great grandma.
Yeah.
So like crazy, and I mean that is the unknown that I am like I guess you could say more concerned about. It seems like we're headed down the path to these phases of reopening, but there's still a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainties. Are we ever going to shake hands with people again?
Yeah.
Like who was it that was saying that? Somebody was like, "Oh, was it Dr. Fauci?" He was like, "Don't shake hands with anyone ever again."
I don't understand why we shake hands anyway. It's a perfect way for uh, diseases to spread. And I was like, well, we shake hands for a number of reasons. That's just it's part of human nature. Um, I don't know. It's weird, man. Um, I think a lot of people didn't take it serious up front, and like I kind of did. Like I started working from home like 3 or 4 weeks before it got bad in Vegas because we have tons of people at our corporate office that are international travelers, and they go all across the globe for opening up casinos and whatnot. And I don't know, man. The more I read about it, and the more I read about the news from China, like in my back of my head, I was like, man, people aren't taking this serious enough, you know. And then I think yesterday was the first day I've been to a grocery store in 5 weeks. You know, my trips have been pretty limited. I went to the donut shop because that's essential to me, and a grocery store once or twice. Yeah, but we had food and we had stuff stocked up already. My wife always buys stuff themselves, so we just kind of stayed at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, man, I've been very limited in what I've gone and done too. I've just been mostly at the house or doing stuff around the new gym. You know, we've just got moved in like for 2 weeks, but it's allowed us to really get settled in like so much more having this time.
Well, you know, another thing that's really crazy about the whole virus. Have you seen some of the articles where it talks about, you know, this hit in January, but they're saying people could have had it in November and December?
November, yes, I heard November.
I will tell you what, I did a seminar in Memphis in December. Okay, I went down there. I tested someone, and I did a seminar. And it's an international flight, even though it's a small international airport. It's an international flight. I flew home like 4 days after I flew home. I caught the flu, and I've had the flu a number of times. And I've never once had a flu shot. And I'm fairly athletic. And I'm young, but like after 8 days of being sick and it not going away, and I literally I felt like I was dying at parts. I hurt everywhere. I had a fever. I had a cough that wouldn't go away. So I went to the doctor, and they said, "No, you don't have the flu. You just have like a sinus infection or a really bad cold." And I was like, "Man, I don't know. This doesn't feel like no damn cold to me. Like this feels rough." So they sent me. I missed 10 days of work. Okay. And I literally quarantined myself in my own room because I didn't want to get my kids sick at the time. So like 12 days later, I go back to the doctor. I'm like, hey, you know, my fever's gone. You know, I'm not as achy, but this cough will not go away. So they gave me something from the cough that was like a 5-day steroid pack and something else to help with the cough. But literally, I read that article and I was talking to my wife about it. And we were like, I wonder if I had it, because I was on an international flight. Okay. The symptoms didn't show up for 3 or 4 days. So after I got home, and I got tested for the flu, but they said it wasn't the flu. And then I went back to the doctor and I got something from the cough that wouldn't go away. I ran a fever the entire time. So I was, you know, it could be coincidence, but you know, my mind was kind of playing through it. But I just remember, like, you know, when you get a cold and you've done jiu-jitsu for years, it sucks in ways because everything you've ever popped, tore, hurt, whatever, it hurts. But I have never felt so bad in my life as I did when I had that. And I just swore up and down I had the flu. And I got tested twice for it. And they said I didn't have the flu. But that's why I thought that article that I saw was extremely interesting. It says I got super sick, man, right after I took that international flight. But
That's crazy, man. Like,
yeah, you know, they're doing that at-home test kits to see if you've had it. I'm gonna order one. I'm gonna take it and see it, you know, just see if I had it. Just because they're asking for people that have had it and recovered to donate blood, so they can test their blood for antibodies or something like that to help make a vaccine. But I just think it'd be very interesting to know if I had it. But I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, everything lines up with the symptoms, and like, dude, I was sick. Like, it was horrible. So I don't know. We'll see.
that's crazy, man. You know, I had the flu 2 years ago, and then I had bronchitis last year.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that was the worst I have ever felt, like in terms of like not being able to breathe,
Yeah.
just like respiratory issues. Like it was scary, man. I was super worried about it. Like, and it was an ongoing thing. And it's like, it started around Halloween, but it came back like I'd gone and got on some meds, and then like 6 weeks later, it had kind of like reemerged, and it was just as bad. So I don't know if it just never fully went away or what, but man, it was terrible.
Yeah, and you're very healthy. Imagine what it's like for someone that smokes. You know what I'm saying? Someone that's not as healthy. My mom smokes, and every time she gets a cold, it turns into bronchitis, and like it sounds horrible. But she smoked her entire life, and she's she's not gonna quit. She knows, and she was a RN for 50 years. Like she 100% knows better. But I don't know. It's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, so how long have you lived out in Vegas now?
We've been out here just past 2 years. So
Yeah. Hey, so like you moved out there for like what you do with like your casino job, right? Like what, can you kind of go into that?
yeah, so it wasn't just for the job. We were actually going to move to Knoxville, Tennessee, up in the Johnson City, Knoxville, Tennessee area. We wanted away from Memphis. Memphis is, there's great things about Memphis, and there's great people in Memphis that I've become great friends with, but the area is just decreasingly going down, and I just wanted away from it. I figured if we settled there, our kids would settle there, and if it looks this bad now, I kind of wonder what it would look like in 30 or 40 years, because I've been there since I was 4 years old, and from the time I can remember, it's just been a downward slope that hasn't improved. So I had actually been with my company for 13 years, and I put my month notice in. I gave them like a month or 2 month notice in and said, hey, we're selling a house, we're leaving. And so like the week I did that, the vice president of IT from the company called me and said, hey man, why are you leaving the company? Because I was a manager of IT for 2 properties that we had in Tunica. And I told him, I was like, man, it's not the company by any means, but like I was told I couldn't be a remote employee, and I just don't want to be in this area. Like I don't want my kids raised in this area. And he's like, well, look, I might be able to work something out where you could be a remote employee, but why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you fly out to New Jersey? We have properties there that are in great areas, and then why don't you fly out to Vegas? And he's like, check it out. And I say, I want you to stay at the company if at all possible. So they offered me a corporate position that matched my manager's salary, and then they paid for the move. So I sat down, I talked to my wife, like, worst case scenario, we don't like it, and we were away from Memphis, and we moved to Knoxville some other time. So we visited New Jersey, and we visited Vegas. And New Jersey, the towns were like 15,000, 20,000, and having a large-scale school there would be doable, but like you would have to, like, it would be a lot of work, a lot of advertising, because there was no big population. It was just a small town, so you had to pull from different towns. And then in Vegas, the competition was huge. There's schools. Like people ask me about jiu-jitsu out here, and from my house where I am sitting at right now, in a 5-mile radius, there is 36 jiu-jitsu schools. So I've Googled it. It's crazy. You can't go a block without seeing a martial arts school here. So, but out here, the competition is to the max. So we were like, well, McDonald's and Burger King, McDonald's and Wendy's, we're not worried about competition. Competition breeds success. What did it for us out in Vegas was the mountains. People come to Vegas all the time for the casinos, the shows, the gambling. There is tons of stuff to do out here. I mean, off the strip, the mountains, Red Rock Canyon, Lake Mead, the Colorado River. 3 hours from here is Zion National Park. 4 hours from here is Disneyland, Legoland. I mean, there's so much to do. And in New Jersey, there was a beach. And it was just like, that was pretty much it, So, like, that's kind of what pushed us to come out to Vegas is, one, the population in the area we live in is like 300,000 people. We knew a school would be successful. And within 2 years, we got it up to 115 students right before all this stuff happened, which, that's decent. And we were growing it faster, and we did a school in South Haven with a population of like 34,000 people. But now we're doing that. This whole pandemic, that kind of, we haven't had any new enrollment, so that's going to set us back. But I think it was the right call overall. And coming out here has helped me in a lot of ways, especially in jiu-jitsu. I've gotten a lot better since I moved out here, because where I had really good guys to work with back home, out here, it's not like I go to the school and there's 1 or 2 guys that can really push me. I go to the school and there's like 30 guys that can push me or beat the hell out of me, which is, now I'm used to it. But when I first came out here, I was not. It was like every time I slapped hands with someone, it was a constant fight not to get submitted. You know, it was crazy how good the people were. And not like black belts. I'm talking about like from blue to purple to brown. The skill level from what I was used to was just on a different level. And then the benefits for my family is we didn't have any friends, didn't have any family. So we rely on each other, and my family became a lot closer, which is the biggest inspiration why we moved. I know that's a long-winded answer, sorry.
No, man, this is the stuff I wanted to talk to you about. So, I mean, I haven't got to chat with you too much since you moved, but
yeah,
man.
I missed you last time your crew came to Vegas, man.
Yeah. What did we I think we came for a Widespread Panic concert, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But man, I want to come. I'm off this summer. I taught summer school the last 2 summers at college, so I haven't gone to the Martial Arts Super Show. Have you gone? Did you go last year?
Oh yeah, I mean it's right down the road.
Yeah. Did you? Was it like 1 year, like right before that, you didn't go or something, or like Dimitri didn't go, or one of you didn't go?
It was the year that we moved. So it was not the last 2, but I guess the 3 years back. The year that we moved, because I had just been promoted to. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was 3 or 4 years ago. It was when I got promoted to IT manager, and I had just been promoted, and we were. It was me and like 2 other employees over 2 casinos. So I had to opt out that time. But other than that, I think the last 10 I've only missed 2.
Nice. Man, that is, I want to go this summer because it's always so beneficial. You just, A, you get motivated and inspired. B, you get ideas in which you can't implement them all immediately. But it just like, man, it exposes you to a lot of things that I've taken away and implemented in my business, or just changed the way I looked at something or thought about it, which ultimately led to success on down the road.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people don't know about the Super Show. Like, you know, of this school owner I talk to, and I don't talk to it anywhere near as me as like my wife does. But like, I talked to him and like, hey, they're like, no, I don't need to go down. I was like, you don't need to. That's first of all, you haven't been, so you don't know what you're missing. Second of all, everything you just said is true. But for someone who's never been and go and actually see how big the industry is worldwide, that's impressive. Second of all, to go and talk to some of the really successful people that are making more money than doctors and lawyers, that's motivation right there. You know, it's like, but then if you're one of those people that you go and you're like, no, I'm not doing that. That won't work. Nope, I don't like how they're doing that. But yet they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get out of your own way sometimes. And it's funny how many of those shows I go to and I'm seeing, I just teach. You know, I have a full-time job. So I hear the same thing over and over and over again, and I don't ever implement it because, like, I'm not doing sales. I watch my wife do it, and she's very successful with it. So then I sit in the back and I just listen, and I always catch that, you know, that group, that person from me that's sitting there like, that wouldn't work for me. Well, I do this. Well, you're in this class because what you're doing isn't working, but yet you're not even giving the guy respect and listening to him as he's telling you what works at his school. That's what drives me nuts, you know. And it's always something like Mike Metzger. It's like, that guy's extremely successful. Why would you speak while he's speaking? Like literally, like you're having a separate conversation in the back while this guy is extremely successful is telling you how to grow your business. It's like, why did you even come to the Super Show? So those are the things that get me. If you're going to go and be focused, have a plan, and be respectful and pay attention. I don't think so many martial artists really practice what they preach. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we feel
No, I do. I do, man. Like, and man, I've got, like, I always go in with the mindset of like, I attend as many classes as I can, man. I'm always geeking out on like that schedule, man. I'm like, oh man, no, there's these two at the same time. Oh, but man, when I go, I may only take one thing from that class, but if I attend 5 classes in the day and then I got 5 things, you know, and like I just kind of had like I know I can't take everything from the super show. I know I can't take everything from a single seminar, but I try and latch on to those things in the sessions that could very easily just patch onto my business.
Yeah.
And then when I do get back, I got a bunch of things that could potentially patch on. And we start trying to plug and play. And it's fun. That process is fun. I've missed it the last couple of years.
Yeah. To me, it's just like jiu-jitsu, right? I mean, you will never get a technique right the first time. Like people that think they do are wrong because they don't understand the technique. So like what I tell my students is you watch the technique, take one thing. Like if you can get one thing and have it set in your mind and you know it, next time you see the technique, you'll build off it. It's the same thing like with like business. You know, if you get one idea from that speaker on that subject, and then you go back and you already had that idea, you pick up the second one and then you grow off of it. And I don't know, like I think everyone should go to the super show if they have a martial arts school. I think it would help everyone. I think if they go, they need to make it worth their while, have an open mind. Then that's where, you know, obviously to me, it's a lot of the guys that have been in the martial arts for 20, 30 years. And like, you know, like I've already seen everything. I've seen the trends. I've seen this. I'm like, maybe, but everything is changing now. You know, everything's changing. I'm happy to see so many more jiu-jitsu schools there and so many more MMA schools there too. I don't know, how long have you been going to Super Show? Like 10 years?
Oh man, I've gone to 6 and I've not, it's been close. My first year I would have went was I think in 2012.
Okay, so like in 2012, for example, MMA guys on the right, all the traditional guys on the left. You know what I'm saying? There was this big divide, and it was like, you know, they were all staring at each other. They're all like, "Yeah, you're a McDonald's school," and you're like, but you know what I'm saying? And now, nothing. You know, the other one. You know, now everyone's like in it to make money and to grow their business. And when I say to make money, it's not to sacrifice like the value of the program or what we do for our communities. But if you want to be successful and you want to help your community, you have to have your doors open. You have to make money. And that's where I think a lot of schools that think traditional schools cop out and stuff like that. It's like you have to be open, you know. So I just remember the first time I went to the Super Show, and I think that was anywhere from 2010, 2012. The difference between like the mixed martial arts schools and jiu-jitsu schools and the traditional schools was uncanny. Like you could they look like they didn't want to mix in the same room together. You know what I'm saying? Like it was hilarious. And the very first year I went was the year that Dana White spoke. And that was a great keynote speaker. You know, and
Damon John was the first one when I went.
Was that the guy from Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a year after Dana White, and then after him was the Lone Survivor guy,
Marcus Luttrell.
Marcus Luttrell, yeah, and that dude was awesome. Funny story about him. I read his book, and I met him and I got to talk to him. But I'll never forget when I saw him walking the Super Show floor, and he was talking to this lady. So like, I wanted to give him an autograph my book. So I walked up. I didn't say anything. I stayed a respectful distance away, like 2 feet. So he knew I was there. He saw me, but I was waiting patiently for him to finish the conversation. And I was asking him to sign my book. Dude, this black belt kid who had to be like 17 or 18 just like storms in front of me. It's like, "Hey, can you sign my book?" And he goes, "Excuse me, ma'am." And he turns, he's like, "No, I won't sign your book because I'm from Texas and I have manners. I was raised with manners. Did you not see me speaking to this lady? You know how rude it is to cut someone off?" Dude, he lit into this kid. And I was just like, You know, like some people might have looked at what, like, really, why would you do that? He's a fan, but at the same time, like, everything he was saying was dead on. And he's like, this kid, I'll never forget. The kid was a second-degree black belt in like karate, taekwondo, and like just literally like barged into his comments, and he just lit into it. That kid put his head down and walked like behind me and waved. You know what I'm saying? It was hilarious, and like I just like seeing people that you know, like from his book, the way he was raised and whatnot, and then listening to his speech, and then seeing that interaction. Like he was living what he preached. Like the things that he said, like I got the feeling like he really means, which I like. But this is one of the funniest stories from Super Show that all his life.
That's hilarious, man. How is his book? I haven't read it.
It's good, man. That dude is crazy. He trained to be a SEAL his entire life. Like, dude, I'm not joking. His neighbor was a SEAL. So like in his teenage years, he asked his neighbor to start training him to be a SEAL. Like, there was no question on what he wanted to do. Like, he wanted to be a Navy SEAL. He said he was going to be a Navy SEAL. He trained for it. Like, so he got to the SEAL Academy, and he was highly trained and highly ready to do it. Yeah, man, it's a crazy book.
I'm going to have to check it out, man. I recently did David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. And
yeah, I'm listening to that now.
Extreme. Oh, it's so good, right?
Yeah.
Have you are you familiar with the other one that he was involved with, Living with the SEAL?
No.
It's real short. I listened to it's like 5 or 6 hours, but he goes and lives with this CEO, and the CEO writes the book about like what it was like living with David Goggins every day, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm listening to You Can't Hurt Me Now, and I listened to the I'm going blank. The one about the admiral that did the speech on making your bed.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I'm not familiar with the book.
Yeah, I'm going blank on the name of it. It was really good too.
Man, message me later if you remember it and any other books you have, because I've been super on a book listening and reading tear this year. I'm trying to get 100 books in.
In fact, I can tell you right now, it's on my phone.
Cool.
But no, I don't know, books like that motivate you because you hear people that's gone through crazy stuff and how they overcome it. Just and it's all the way you think. It's really cool.
Man, do you do Audible, or how do you listen to your books?
I'm doing Audible right now.
Me too. I love it.
I do a lot of bike riding right now, so I like to listen to it on my bike.
Man, like at least in certain parts, but like once I got off the Vegas Strip and drove around Vegas, man, there's actually some really nice parts and some really nice neighborhoods and communities that are just, not around the places you normally would go.
Yeah, it really is. The only thing you have to be, the only area that I would stay away from is North Las Vegas. Generally, outside of that, most of the areas here aren't that bad.
Nice. Man, I did Extreme Ownership. That was another good one with Jocko.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is doing 3 different podcasts now.
Oh, the name of it is Make Your Bed.
Okay, Make Your Bed. I'll check it out. I'm always looking for the next good book to take in.
Yeah.
Well, man, how did you get into martial arts? Like, when did you start training? How'd you get involved?
So I started training at first when I mean, it's probably one of those stories that you hear quite often. I was in 2nd grade. I was on a bus, and a kid said, "Hey, I want your seat," and I said no, and he punched me in the eye. Yeah, I was like, okay. So we got in a fight, and I lived in a bad part of Memphis, and Memphis is a very racist area, on both sides, and there was and the school I went to, there was only 6 white kids total. So it was both ways. But I got picked on a lot, and there was days that it was nonstop. And my mom was like, "Nope, nope, we're going to cry." So that's how I got in cry. And I didn't stop until I got my brown belt. And what's funny is Robbie Beard was my karate instructor, him and Don Crenshaw. Robbie Beard was 17 years old, I think, and I was like, 7
Dude,
or 8.
I haven't hit him up, but I want to have Robbie on the podcast. It'd be awesome to talk with him.
Yeah, I'm sure he will, man. He's a good dude. But,
I like training at seminar. I've gone to a couple of jiu-jitsu seminars with him. I mean, it's a legit black belt as far as I'm concerned. I mean, what I've been around him.
Yeah, he is, man. That's a funny story actually, but in the area in Memphis, the jiu-jitsu community, it's grown, but like early on when it was small, it was super critical of everyone. Like everyone that wasn't a black belt or everyone that didn't train like Memphis BJJ, it was very critical. But no, that got me into martial arts, man. And then I had some medical issues. I had a tumor in my jaw, and I had to get out for a long time. And I always wanted to get back into it. And like my mom was like, "Nope." The doctor said no. There was no football, even though I played football anyways. There was no baseball. I played baseball anyways, But my mom was like, no martial arts. I'm not paying it. No, not doing it. So I didn't get back into it until I could pay for it myself. I was 19 years old. As soon as I moved out, I got a job that could pay for rent and classes. I started training again. I started training Taekwondo, and did a lot of point sparring tournaments and stuff like that. I did Kempo, and then I found Jiu-Jitsu, which is by far my favorite of all of it now.
How did you get involved with jiu-jitsu? Did you start off with Roy Dean immediately?
No, so man, my buddy was a ranger in Iraq, and he had come home, and they were doing Gracie combatives there. So he comes home and he's like, "Man, I want to do MMA." And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Do it." I'm like, and he's like, "No, man, I need someone to help me with my stand-up." He's like, "My ground game's fine." I'm like, "What? Really? Okay." So he's like, "Would you work my stand-up with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." So we would come in, we would hit pads, and I would watch him in the bag. And then we would spar, and I would just beat the hell out of him. And he had no footwork, and he had when I say I beat the hell out of him, you gotta understand, we're like brothers. Like, it wasn't like one of those guys that were anytime he could sucker shot me, he would 100% sucker shot me. So I took advantage of beating the hell out of him. But one day after we were training, he said, "Hey, let's roll." I'm like, "What do you mean roll? What is that?" He's like, "No, let's grapple." I'm like, "No, I don't do that gay stuff." And he was like, "So you're gonna sit there and punch me in the face for an hour straight, but you won't leave me 5 minutes on the ground?" And I'm thinking, "You're a cocky little bastard, He weighs 159 pounds. I was a little overweight. I was 229 pounds. I'm like, "Fine, we'll roll." And dude, he beat the crap out of me. And he had 4 months of Gracie combatives, so nothing really, a couple of takedowns, some basic stuff. But I just remember him getting on top of me, and he took me out and grapevine my legs, And at the time, I didn't even know what that was. I didn't know what to do, so of course I rolled like an idiot, and he choked me. It was just repeat, and I was like, "This is bull crap." I'm like, "Why is it?" I mean, I knew I was bigger, I was taller, I weighed more than him, and I was a little overweight at the time, but I sparred all the time, so I had good cardio, but 2 minutes on the ground, me pushing and trying to yank and pull, and I was exhausted. And I'm like, "No, this can't happen." So I started looking for a jiu-jitsu school, and at the time there wasn't much. There was Memphis BJJ, and there's a place in Olive Branch, which was right next to South Haven, about 10 minutes. And we went to Super Show. And when I was at the Super Show, you remember that? I don't know if they were still there in 2012, but the BJJ American booth with John Wills and David Mayer.
I don't know if I ever remember seeing them.
So yeah, I think the first year I was there, and then after that they stopped going, but they had been there for quite almost since the start of Super Show. And they had this online curriculum thing where you would do the curriculum and then you would go to one of their certified schools and you would test. And I was like, you know what? I could drill on my own. I could use my buddy. He has a little bit of training, and we could just do this. So I started doing that. And about 6 months into it, I got better, and I was like, man, I need people to roll. I need more. I realized that early on that doing via a book and videos wasn't enough. So I went to Fight Clinic, which is now Shack-based MMA, with John David. He's a brown belt, still a brown belt, but and he was a local fighter. So I went in there, I signed up, and I just got trashed, man, like nonstop. Like just got beat up. Like back in the day, like a lot of MMA schools, it was just like other way walking through the door was food, for the sharks. And then if you stuck around long enough and you pay your dues and you got your butt kicked enough, people were like, okay, this guy's not going anywhere. People didn't want to invest time and training partners that weren't going to last, because they felt like it was a waste, which to a certain degree, I guess I got. But like one of the guys there that was a blue belt, was a fighter, he kind of took me under his wing and really started helping me. His name was Tim Galuzzi, and like one day his sparring partner had a fight coming up, didn't show up, and he was like, "Hey, you." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Don't you do like Taekwondo? Do you do stand up?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Your jiu-jitsu really sucks." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "I tell you what, if you do 30 minutes of stand up with me, I'll work your jiu-jitsu for you a little bit." I'm like, "Okay." So like we touch hands, and he comes at me, and I do a spinning hook kick, block him right in his head, and he's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Dude, like you really know stand up?" I'm like, "I said you Taekwondo." He's like, "Yeah, but that doesn't mean you know stand up." And so he's like, "Okay." So like we start sparring, and dude, I ain't gonna lie, he dropped me like with a freaking kidney punch, which is not something I'm used to Taekwondo, because we don't do a lot of kidney shots. But we spar like hard for 30 minutes, and I earned his respect. And he's like, "Look, man, if you will come in like 2-3 days a week and do 30 minutes of stand up with me, afterwards I'll do 2 days, 3 days, we'll do 30 minutes of jiu-jitsu." And he helped me get better. And I was there all the way up to my blue belt. And like there, it's crazy, man. Like in order to get your blue belt when you were Ray, you had to be choked unconscious. And whoever was your training partner, like your number one training partner, they got to choke you out, and they got to pick the submission. Well, that guy, Tim Galuzzi, was my main training partner, and he picked a damn pruning necktie to choke me unconscious with. Yeah, it sucked. I did it though, man. I got my blue belt. And right after that, John David, he got offered a job in Las Vegas, and a lot of people don't know this part in that community because I never told anyone. He offered it. He wanted me to buy a school, and I talked to my wife about it, and we were like, because he was moving, so all he has is blue belts. And I'm like, well, why would we buy his school and take on payment when there's gonna be nothing but blue belts there? I mean, I'm a blue belt. I could just start my whole program here with no overhead. It would cost us nothing but mats, which mats all benefit from the Taekwondo people too. So I talked to him. I said, "Man, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy mats and do my own thing at my own school since you're moving." And at that time, I had already reached out to Roy Dean about being a long distance student and set up coming to see him about affiliating with him before he had the program. So we were on good terms, and then he had a fight and blew his back out. And kind of that fight that he had ended his fight career, and it kind of messed up his plans of moving to Vegas because he had a job at Extreme Couture lined up, but he got sidelined and lost the position. So his school became the only thing he had. So he calls me up and he's like, "Man, I'm gonna need you not to open your jiu-jitsu program." And I'm like, "Man," "Look, we need to sit down and talk," because that's not happening. I don't want to lose you as a buddy or anything like that, but I've already signed up with Roy Dean. I've already flown out there and met him. I've already bought mats. It's I've already set a date. It's happening. I'm doing my own thing. And so we went and had lunch together. He's like, "Man, jiu-jitsu doesn't make me a lot of money. What my biggest money is in May." He's like, would you be okay? Would you agree to like not doing an MMA program? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And like to this, that like, you know, the entire 10 years after that, I never did, you know, and like we were always fine. Like, he came to did a seminar at my school with my students. My students were cross trained his place, his students were cross trained. But it was just a mutual respect. Instead of, you know, going off on each other, we sit down over lunch and we talked about it. And I, you know, I just told him like, this is where I stood, and he's like, man, this is where I stand. It's like we were good. We shook hands, and a lot of people like from his school kind of thought that I screwed him over. Like I just went out and opened my own program at the time. Well, that was not the case, and you know, we were on, to this day we're still on good terms. So, you know, it's just handling things the right way. A lot of people in the community, when they have a problem with someone, but instead of like just going to that person and talking to them, they tend to talk through others, which is not something I did. I made sure to talk to him directly, which I'm glad I did because it worked out for the best. But I mean, that's how I got into jiu-jitsu, and I've been with Roy Dean ever since. But I've been super fortunate that, like, with your affiliation with Dan Dream and you and Eric, I've made some really good friends there. With Sean Hammonds out of Nashville, Tennessee, his affiliation, made some really good friends there. I'm just welcome, and like even like Robert Beard and his affiliation he's in, I'm welcome to train in a lot of different areas because, you know, I'm always pretty upfront with people, and like I don't do anything shady or anything or talk about anyone behind their back. Which when I opened my school as a blue belt, it happened nonstop. Like in the Memphis area, people were like, oh, he's not a real blue belt. Then I got my purple belt. I'm like, oh, he's not a real purple belt. Then I got my brown belt. Oh, he's not a real brown belt. And then like once I got my black belt, you know, at that point I quit caring. And I had so many people come into my school at open mats and cross train. I think everybody quit caring. But it was just, I don't know, one of those things.
Yeah, man. You were, I think, a purple belt when we met, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I asked that tournament.
Yeah, dude, I remember, what was like a Kimura or something like that?
Yeah, I just remember like when we touched hands and I saw your face, I was like, oh shit, this guy's here to compete. You had such a competitive face, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, okay. Because it was me, you, and Buddy. We were in the same bracket. It was the three of us. Well, I knew Buddy, but me and him had met you for the first time at that tournament.
Yeah. What is Buddy doing these days? It seemed like somebody told me recently, but I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what they said.
So I haven't talked to him in a while. I don't know if he's trained. He just bought a new house, and he's got his own pain business. And he has $1, so he's staying pretty busy. You know, Emmett had just got his black belt.
Yeah.
I think that motivated Buddy to start training again. I don't know. Buddy's one of those guys that he just I think he got burnt out with some of the politics behind jiu-jitsu, with some of the things that were going on there. But like, dude's good. Like, he should have had his black belt a while ago. Like, he's really good. And some of my success is from him and Eric Ingram, who's with your affiliation. You know, at other belts, someone's helped me get to that next level. At blue belt, or for white belt, it was Tim Galuzzi. At blue belt, it was really just finding the Roy Dean and having a focused path on what I needed to do. At purple belt, it was really Buddy and Emin, because like that's when I really started cross training. And then I met Eric Ingram right like the week after I got my brown belt, and man, he just trashed me. Like, it was bad. It was real bad, you know. And,
he does that.
I know, man. And you know what's funny about Eric? You know, we've rode a lot. Okay, I can't even keep count of how many times we rode, but I can tell you I've submitted Eric 6 times. Not only can I tell you I submitted Eric 6 times, I can tell you in what order of the submissions I caught him at. And 4 of those were from his back with one arm rear naked chokes. The other one was a heel hook. The other one was an ankle lock. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna kill me, but his biggest weakness is protecting his neck and transition to the back. But You have to be able to pass his damn guard to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
But
I do.
finding him at brown belt was critical. Like, I got so much better, man. Because like it wasn't like a lot of people were like, he's just strong. No, he's not just strong. And then people were like, he's just fast. It's like, no, he's not just fast. It's everything. Like, he's an athlete. He's extremely good technically. And he's got it up here.
He's smart.
Yeah, man.
Strategy.
Like, people are like, I have such respect. He's one of the best grapplers I've ever grappled. And like, he doesn't realize how good he is. Like, he gets down on himself because like, I know he wants to be a world champion. He wants to be successful, and he goes to these tournaments, and he does well, but he doesn't always win. But if you watch him compete, like I watched him in Vegas, not last year, but the year before that, and he fought Gambino from New York, Marcelo's student, and like he lost, but he didn't look out of place. And you're talking about a guy who's been trained with some of the best in the world, at least 5 days a week, and he looked good. He like a lot of people that are in Eric's circumstances where a majority of his training he's doing on his own. They would just get dominated. That wasn't the case. He did amazing. And then I took him to open mat at Dunham's place, at Evan Dunham's place, where Mike Mazzini trains, and I watched him roll Michael Mazzini. That was fun. That's probably the only time I've ever truly seen me get his ass kicked. Like, and that dude's a freak. Like, I did before all this crap happened. I go to open mats every Sunday at Evan Dunham's, and he's always there. So I get to watch him roll quite a bit. And dude's amazing. Like, he's amazing. Like, the way, I don't know, man. It's the way he moves, the way how creative he is, it's amazing to watch him. And his sister, like, you don't hear people talk about his sister. His sister's the exact same way. I mean, she's awesome too. So, but anyways.
What are some of the other guys around Vegas that you get to go cross train with?
Man, so like I'm welcomed anywhere. Like I was in the process of setting up some private lessons with Vinny. Man, I just went blank on his last name.
Magalhaes?
Yes. He has a school that's like 30 minutes from me. I was in the process of setting some private lessons up with him. But I go to 10th Plant. I trained 10th Plant for the first 2 months I was here, just because I was really into no-gi and footlocks at the time. And their school is really cool. It sucks to go in the summer because it's already hot. And when you go in there, they have black mats, they have black wall mats, and they turn the heater on after kids leave. So, and they open the doors, and it's crazy hot, and there's sweat everywhere. But like my home outside my school is Evan Dunham's, and it's a great place because it's a melting pot. On Saturdays and Sundays, there are open mats. There's people from some people from Robert Drysdale. There's people from 10th Plant. There's people from Extreme Couture. There's just all the schools. Like, you'll have like one guy from here, one guy. So you get to meet a lot of different people. And because of the UFC and the fights, it's like every weekend there's a fight on Saturday night. You can be sure on Sunday there's going to be somebody from out of town training. There's always guests. So I've got to train people from Texas, Florida. I've got to train guys from Ireland. There were black belts, blue belts, purple belts, just because it never fails, man. When there's a fight that weekend, there's always guests and there's always different people to roll. And on the average, there's anywhere from 8 to 12 black belts there. So, like, before I was a brown belt, I'd be lucky to roll a black belt 4 or 5 times a year, And then I got my black belt and Eric got his black belt, and we rolled. But now I'm rolling black. I'll do 7 or 8 rounds of black belts, just nothing but black belts. And it's like, whoa, that's totally different. But then I'll roll a blue belt who's, dude, fall leaps and bounds past where I was at blue belt. that's doing nothing but barrel lows, nothing but worm guard, crazy stuff that I don't play with a lot, and they're extremely good. So that it's fun, but it's not easy. Like when you get a black belt, everybody wants to be a black belt, but at the same time, the bullseye on your chest or your back goes very wide when you get a black belt. Everybody wants to be that guy that teaches a black belt. So, beats a black belt, which I'm sure you know.
Yeah, man, it does come with some weird responsibilities.
Well, it just feels like you can't really take it easy unless you're rolling another black belt. Because then, like, when you roll another black belt, you got to tap hands and you just have fun, right? Because you're not trying to prove anything. But I feel like almost every underranked you roll, every single time you slap hands, it's like game face because they're going to go 100%. So you get used to it though.
We were probably the same way. When I was a blue belt and I got to roll with the black belt, I was probably like, I'm about to submit this dude and take over his school. I remember like when I did get to roll black belts, I was stereotypical in that way for sure. It was just like, oh, they're a black belt, they're gonna beat my ass. I got to try real hard.
Yeah, and I think you're hungry too. But when you get that black belt, I won't say I'm not. I'm hungry for improvement, but there's no next step. Like there's degrees, but that doesn't really mean anything. The only thing that's important, the only thing a degree means to me is promoting my own students. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason I care about it. But it's funny. It's like I would consider myself not as hungry, but at black belt, I've seen more improvement as a black belt than I ever did anywhere else. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I have trained so long, or maybe it's because of how I'm training now that I'm not so much worried about my performance. I'm just having fun. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, man, it could be a lot of things. And for me, you know how things come in like waves. One of my friends the other day described it as he was like, yeah, I was having a renaissance in my Kimura game. Right. But it's like you go through like, you remember like the second time you're like, man, my Kimura has come back around. But just like, I remember going through that at like blue belt, purple belt with like certain moves, and then they come back around years later, but your whole view has like evolved tenfold, in all areas. And it's like, that's what allowed you to arrive at that next spot of your understanding and awareness and everything. But it's like that cumulative learning effect of just like, man, how long have you been in the game now?
I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu 13 years, I guess.
Yeah, so we're about the same. Yeah. I'm between 13 and 14 years right now. So
yeah, what's really cool is seeing the trends. Like, I remember early on when I had just got my blue belt, the inverted guard of Ryan Hall was like, that was it. The other one had to do that. And then it was, like Marcelo Garcia and Damian Maya with single X, or Damian Maya, he called it the snake guard. And then it was, the 50-50 was the next really big thing that I remember. And before that, it was Jeff Glover's. It was a deep half guard with Bill Cooper and Jeff Glover and Ryan Hall. And like, and now it's of course, it went from those to the Berimbolo to the worm guard, and just so I look at the trends, and I've thought about that, how people jump on the trend and try to learn what's relevant or what's on the circuit now. And over the years, like I did the same thing, but now I'm like, I want to build my game as a black belt to the point that I don't care what my opponent does, that I can impose my game. So that's kind of where I'm working at now. I don't want to learn something just because it's what's working with people right now. I want to be able to apply my game on whatever the other trends or position there is out there. And so that's what I've been focused on mainly. What have you been working on as a black belt?
Man, few things. So just like since like later on in my brown belt, that's when I started getting exposed to like the Hickson approach to training. And got to train with Hickson a couple of times, but Jack Toffer, which you've trained with, I did a private with Jack the other day, man. And that dude showed me a way to break posture that I'd never, in closed guard, that I'd never seen or thought of. He's like, oh yeah, when this one's not working, you do this one. And I was just like, and it's like everything he's ever taught me. It's got this bigger underlying principle to it, but it's so simple yet so effective. You can't believe that you didn't come up with it already. It's like, and it makes you question everything you're doing. But like that, but for me, like that's just one subset over here, right? Like that is like, yes, okay, that's like a big third of what I'm doing. Then like we were just recently implemented the 10th Planet warm-ups, right? So we're still learning them. We're on the 5th out of 8 sets. Then they're all like flow drills, like chained drills. Mm-hmm. So once we get all those, we'll have them implemented as part of the first part of class. Do you know who Omar French is?
Yeah, isn't he in Arizona?
He is in Tulsa. He was actually just on the podcast yesterday, but our episode doesn't come out till next week. But yeah. He's had success. He offers like, instead of an advanced jiu-jitsu, and we are going to do this on our new schedule, to kind of like keep what is, we're going to start with like some Donahue stuff, but he calls it a systems class. So like, we're going to basically just be like, hey, after jiu-jitsu class, one night a week, we have this systems class where all we do is break down the Donahue leg lock system. That's all we do for this allotted amount of time. We're going to do like 3 of them a year. But that's something just to kind of like, my approach is to be eclectic in that way. Just like, look, 10th Planet, what's coming out of Australia, Donahue and his guys, the Hicks and Gracie style and those fundamentals. Like, I want all of that. So, but that's just been like basically, and in that same vein, like we do all subs in the gi, right? So like, I don't limit my students, to not being able to do heel hooks in BJJ class. So like we made that change a couple of years ago. So just little things like that, man. We're just always trying to add stuff in, man. I feel like you've had a real similar approach. I've seen your DVD collection. And I've trained with, at the super shows and stuff, like traded takedown ideas. And man, I know you've studied a lot of different stuff, and that's kind of my approach, but studying like different schools and affiliations inside of jiu-jitsu and trying to come up with a synthesized product,
Yeah. So I do the same thing. I watch everything. Like, even if I know it's not going to be something like I'm going to do personally, if someone asks me a question about it, I like to be knowledgeable of it. If someone's going to do it to me, I like to kind of know what they're doing. Like, I don't berimbolo. I don't like to invert at all because, as I'm getting older, I'm having problems with my neck and stuff like that. I don't want to get caught in a position and have any weight dropped on me. So I'm much more cautious about it. But trust me, I get berimbolo here like every weekend. Like, it's nonstop. So I've learned, tricks, and I've learned how to start defending it and escaping it. So I think it's important, especially as school owners. I think some students might get too carried away and go in too many different directions. But as instructors, we shouldn't narrow our focus, in my opinion, to like just one thing. Because if you do, you're not going to help your students grow. So that's why I have such a DVD collection. That's why I watch so much jiu-jitsu, just because it's really to help not just myself, but students.
Man, one of the coolest things I've got going on, I've talked about this on the podcast a time or two, but there's this little old man that has been coming into my school. And he does, well, before the shutdown, he did my jiu-jitsu classes. He's 72. He is Chinese, but he grew up in the Philippines. He's a 6th Dan in judo. He's a 3rd Dan in aikido. He knows, like, one day he just was like, hey, look at these 10 taekwondo katas. And like busted that out. He's a weapons expert. He's been trained in kendo and aikido, knows 3 styles of Wing Chun. Has shown me like over 100 move form on the Wing Chun dummy. right? So I have 2 Wing Chun dummies now, but this guy comes in and just like trains me up. He does my jiu-jitsu class and he trains me. And like everything I just mentioned, he's like synthesized it all together. And like, that's something else I got going on in the background. He's coming up tomorrow night. And the guy's an orthopedic surgeon. So, and he speaks like 4 languages. So he's like super duper smart.
Yeah.
And man, he's a great communicator. And like, he has taught me so much. Like, he's a literal, like, I'm just like, yeah, this dude's a master. Like, that's all I can describe him as. Like, he has achieved some version of what I am after for what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
One of those things I kind of want to learn.
Yeah, it's interesting. I knew hand trapping drills like you and I could do, like knife drills and stick drills and stuff, but I would need a partner. I never learned the application on the dummy, and I had a dummy for Caleb's dad made me one, and it was just like a decoration, and now I use that thing like every day.
Nice.
It's awesome. It's a great tool to have around, and like for trapping, it's great. So, yeah, man. Well, dude, Alan, let's go ahead and wrap it up, man. I like super. It was great talking to you, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, man. The next time you're out in Vegas, hit me up.
Oh, I will for sure. We'll have to eat an acai bowl together. I'd love to see your school, all that, and I hope that I'm coming to the Super Show. That's on the agenda. Is it happening?
Huh?
Is it going to happen?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
Not this year. They've already announced it. They're going to do some Zoom classes for people this year. But I think with the hit that they took, because, they went from doing to like 400 to 500 packages a day to doing like 80. So with the hit that they took because of all the schools shutting down, I don't think they could afford it, which I know there's a lot of people on Facebook are like extremely upset about that, but man, I mean,
that's life, man. Think about all the sporting events and everything else.
It's kind of outside their control. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
But year after that, or I'm gonna make it out to the black belt camp hopefully this year. So I'll see you there.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, it's great catching up, buddy. I will talk to you soon. Tell Demetra and everyone that Corey and I said hello.
Will do, man. Tell Corey we said hi.
Yes, sir. See ya.
Bye.